Hey friends, Erin here, and I just wanted to bring you a little list of the types of meditation as I have kind of come to categorize them. I want to do this because when I started meditating 20 years ago, one, I didn't know that I was meditating. I'm serious. I would not have classified what I was doing as meditating at all, but I did have some very spiritual experiences in the process. And having studied meditation to this point, I would be like, oh, wow, that was totally meditating. And what I was doing when I didn't know I was meditating was I was walking every day. I had a very strong walking practice. I was determined to heal myself of an eating disorder at the time, actually. But I was just like, I'm just going to walk every day and I'm just going to notice what's going on with me. And I noticed my breath, I noticed all my thoughts. There was all sorts of things that came up and got cleared, and I would usually come home and journal afterwards, and that was like my process. Um, but I had some very expansive periods during that time and really profound healing during that time. All things that are very consistent with an actual practice of meditation. So I want you to know, and I want to name this because at that time too, like I would not have been able to sit still. I could not lay. I would like skip Shavasana if I ever even went to yoga classes. I was usually more in the kickboxing classes at that time. Um, but there was a real sense of that's not for me. So I really wanted to just create this to let you know that there's probably a meditation for you anywhere. It's just finding that right access point because there's a natural part of us that wants to return to our center, return to a place of stillness, return to a place of peace within our side of selves and a sense of home here. Um, so I just wanted to offer this so that if that feels really far away from you, you know that you've got options. So anyways, that was the first kind of path that I went. Yoga was probably the second kind of moving meditation that I did. And moving meditation is how I would consider the first kind of category of easy to access meditations. The second easy to access form of meditation would be your guided visualization or guided meditations, where you have somebody taking you on the journey so that you can just listen to their voice and do what their voice says and not have to hold that container for yourself. And I practiced this for a while. And then probably the first time that I slid out of actually having a container was when I started doing chakra meditation. So I kind of knew where the chakras were, and I would spend my time as I connected with each center. Like I didn't want to be rushed by the guided meditation. I wanted to like really feel that center. And then when I was ready, I wanted to move to the next one. So that kind of became something easy for me to guide myself through. I also think that Yoga Nidra would fall into the category of guided meditation. And it also um, is an easy thing to start to learn to do yourself that uses a kind of relaxation, bringing your attention to each of your body parts, like your right thumb, your right first finger. It really goes through your body nice and slow. So once you've had that in your body a couple times, that's also something that you can kind of do yourself to bring yourself through your own guided experience. Um, Moving up from there is just really opening to awareness. I think that reading The Presence Process was the next thing. Presence? Yeah, The Presence Process by Michael Brown. Really incredible book on becoming present. Each week is like a chapter and a new phrase for you to kind of have as you go about your day. And it's pretty intense. It is pretty intense. I think the second chapter is like this is going to be bringing stuff up. Don't shoot the messenger. I totally shot the messenger when I read that book the first time. Um, but it is a churning practice. And that was very much about breath and just being and holding stillness. Very, very intense, that one. And this is what I would probably classify as one of the really stronger focus meditations. You are focusing on breath, you are focusing on being still, and you are focusing in a way that you were holding the container strong for yourself. Vipassana is another one that is very focused, although there's a more wandery thing where your breath is allowed to do what it does, and you're guiding your attention through your body in different ways. So it's like they're similar but different, but one might have a flavor for you that works and the other one might not, or they might have things at different times. But these are both probably the most intense, like organized, structured, disciplined practices that I've had. And then just outside of that is just all of your mindfulness stuff, all of your kind of present moment awareness. I kind of learned in yoga, or the kind of yoga is very much about meditation when you practice the full 8 limbs of yoga. But the parts of it is really just like focus. Like, so yoga's like, you can breathe, you can turn your attention inwards, you can focus your attention on something, and then meditation is the actual experience of becoming aware of what it is that you're focusing on. So it's not something that you're doing anymore. The most that you can do in meditation is place your attention someplace and hold your attention someplace. And the longer you hold your attention on something, the more information you get back about that thing you're holding your attention on. And some of that stuff is pleasant and wonderful, and some of that stuff is not so good. What's going up? The other thing that is really important to understand about meditation is that when we do intentional kind of meditation, we're like, I'm going to meditate on love, or I'm going to meditate on peace. Peace becomes the thing here that we are focusing on. If we have stuff in the way of our peace, that has to come up to get cleared before we get to peace. So if you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this right, I stink so bad at meditation, it's not working, I'm not getting to that destination. If you're sitting there and you have the intention nice and clear about where you're going, and there's stuff coming up, that is absolutely 100% part of meditation. That is the churning, that is the healing process of meditation. So please don't think that you're wrong for that. Okay, so I'm just going to recap. We have moving meditations, we have guided meditations, we have just awareness practices, mindfulness practices where things can be a little movie, and then we have those hardcore focus meditation options. And I have a stink bug crawling across my screen right now. Hello, stink bug. But my favorite meditation that can also be very life-changing is the one of living meditation. And that is setting an intention for your life. And the same way you would bring your attention back over and over again to your breath if you were doing a seated breathing meditation, then you would bring your attention back over and over again to that intention that you have. Does this make sense? Like, if you want more love in your life, you could have a living meditation of love where you are actually seeing how many places you can observe love and connect with love and remember, oh yeah, I want love, or I want peace, or I want opportunities, or I want freedom. So living meditation, definitely where it's at. Daily practices, very powerful. And if you're just starting, there's all sorts of ways to do it. But I've always found that building up, like doing something daily that I build on, is more powerful than doing something like once a week in a big chunk of time. That can be incredibly useful for finding those deepest ripples within what you're doing. But I think more powerful is the daily practice. And I just, especially around meditation, I just want you to imagine that I have a graph. Here's a graph. And we start down here at the beginning of the week and we have all of this stress. And it's like adding on top of each other. And we're getting all the way up here by the time we meditate. And then we bring ourselves back down because we're doing like a big thing. And then we go through the whole week and we kind of go up to here again. And then we bring ourselves back down. But if we even do 5-minute little things a day, we can go up. And then that 5 minutes, we're going to drop down. We can go up. we can drop down. We can go up, we drop down. And even though we're rising, we're getting the same amount of stress in our week, like we're still keeping our stress levels pretty low because of that 5-minute thing. And even if you do the math, that makes 35 minutes a week, 5 minutes a day, more powerful than 1 hour once a week. So anyways, those are my thoughts about the types of meditation. Do what works for you. Do the meditation that you're going to do because that is the only one that's actually going to have an impact on you. Please let me know if you have any questions and if you want to dive deeper with me. I do one-on-one and group coaching and all sorts of fun things. But you've been awesome. Don't forget to subscribe.